Well, fuck me, boys. It it's been some time from we sat down and yapped on YouTube. Fucking hell. The last time I think I sat down and yapped on YouTube was when I first came to Dubai, which was March 2025. Fucking hell, it's been that long. It's been a long time. But I'm glad to be back. I've a lot of shit's been going on from the last time that we spoke. A lot of shit's been going on. But I'll not be taking a year break anymore. I'm going to jump on. Want to push for, one of these per week to 300 subscribers that I have on YouTube. You fucking legends. Yeah, come on. Imagine 300 people in a room. Like, holy fuck, we all watch your YouTube, 300 of us. That's actually crazy. It actually kind of blows my mind a wee bit. But for yous, we're going to sit down in front of the camera and just yap it out one time a week. You obviously watch my socials, right? What I post, the reels and all in there. And it's very well and good to see like all of the ups and all of the lifestyle stuff that I be getting up to and what be happening in my life. But on YouTube, for you 300 legends, I want to kind of just sit down and talk about like the raw reality of like what's going on in my life, the ups, the downs, the mindset, what's on my mind, what I'm facing, maybe like some hardships, maybe like lessons I've learned along the way. I'm just going to kind of run with it, see where we go, kind of just start talking and see where the conversation kind of leads to, because I want you to see the raw, vulnerable side that you would see from me if we were best mates, if we were together all the time, But yeah, from that last video I done back in Dubai last year, I actually was in Vietnam for a long time. I started my own business as well. Before I was a full-time closer, and for me to actually get the right training to become a full-time closer, I joined a training academy, and basically they train me up and they actually give me the opportunity to start closing. They put me in contact with my first offer, and it was a guy Nathan, that's actually his name, but I'm not going to give you the surname. His name was Nathan. He's 1 million followers, massive e-com guy, and I was on his offer. Closing e-com is an e-com mentorship where you pretty much like, if you want to get into e-com, we build you out a custom store. We have a team that researches winning products. You get access to a supply team, his direct supplier, so when you have your products, they need shipped out, they get shipped out. And I was crushing on this offer. I was doing like 12k a month, USD by the way, which is probably a bit shy of 10 grand pounds, probably around like 9 grand, but I was crushing on this offer. And the guy who actually owned the training academy, he came to me and he was like, have you ever thought about posting content? Would you post content? And I was like, I don't know about the whole content thing. And he was like, look at the position you're in right now. You're closing, you're out of your job, you're making 12k a month. What would you have give, 6 months ago to be in this position? And I was like, fuck my left nut. He goes, exactly, you're living, the life now that you once dreamed. You're in a position now you once dreamed to be in, right? So I was like, you know what, you're right. So we started posting content. And we had like a thing going where if someone see my content, I wanted to get into remote sales, I wanted to do what I was doing, which was closing, I would just refer them over to the academy that I went with, and they would give me a referral fee for it. And it was good, it was closing, I was getting a referral fee. Why would I not, as someone who invested into an academy to get trained and coached, why would I not refer people over to that? Like, it makes sense, when you get deadly results, why would you not refer people? I wouldn't refer someone to something that I didn't believe in, that I couldn't see them actually getting the result that I got. And after a while it was good, and then I found that the coaching calls to get coaching how to sell were changed to like 2 a.m. for like if you're Irish time, And I found myself, heavily involved in trying to help the lads that came through me, when in reality, that was the training academy's job to do. It was their job to do the fulfillment. It was their job to coach them, help them land offers. But I found myself ending up having to take my own calls to coach them myself because they couldn't make half the calls. I was trying to outsource roles to the lads. Got to a stage where I was like, I'm doing the fulfillment, I'm closing, I'm doing content. Why the fuck don't I just do this for myself? And that's basically what I've now done now. So I started Trinity back in September. What's that now? September, October, November, December, March, April, May. 10 months ago. Holy fuck. So I started Trinity 10 months ago. Me and a good mate of mine, Jared. We're basically now, we just work with Irish lads, pretty much Irish tradies. And we help them pretty much, we give them the skills on how to go on and land remote work so they can work online, do it remotely, get out of the trades. We learn them the skills, teach them the skills, and we show them the opportunity that's out there. Like, you can go into, appointment setting, you can go into closing, X, Y, Z. Like, we have lads, right, in the 10 months that have came in the Trinity, learned the skills from us, and have went on and crushed it as appointment setters, crushed it as sales development reps, crushed it as closers. We have lads that have went on, started their own businesses, doing construction recruitment from the skills they've learned and the connections that they've made. Lads that are going on now and starting their own SMMA companies. Lads that are going on and have started their own agencies. And other guys that have went on and started their own website businesses. And that's essentially what we teach you. We don't want you to be locked down to just sales. We show you the opportunity in terms of there's so many different aspects that you can pivot into online when you have the skill and the connections behind you. So yeah, we started Trinity, and Trinity's been going really, really well. We've well over 100 members now. And what's funny, I was actually back. Right now I'm in Dubai. Just got a new apartment. It's pretty sick. Maybe I'll do another video of a tour around it, or tour. And but basically, I was back in Ireland, and we hosted an event, a Trinity event. I haven't really been on the YouTube buzz. I really wish I was, because I could have, vlogged the full thing and showed it to you guys to see it in person. It was an unbelievable experience because we took 10 of the top performers from Trinity and we took them away for 3 days, and we actually went down to Newcastle, County Down, in the north of Ireland, not Newcastle, fucking England, because that would have been haywire. Too many strip clubs and too many lads to try and keep a hold of. I wouldn't be in the strip clubs, but there's way too many lads to try, and I'm not their dad at the end of the day, so you wouldn't know what way that could go. But we took them down to County Down, got this big mansion of a house. It was 8 bedroom. It had, a hot tub. It had a darts board, a pool table. One of the boys brought down his Xbox, and we were playing Nuketown 1v1, and it was just, it was such a, we didn't really have anything planned, but it was such a great few days because I post content, right? Again, new 300 subscribers that I have, legends. Because I post content online about what I do, my lifestyle, my views, my opinions on things, I attract people that are exactly like me. And when I was with these lads, because you guys watching right now only know me from this bit here, right? But when you meet someone in person and you're seeing them standing there in front of you, and they're a person, they've got legs, they've got feet, it's just it's actually, I can't describe how strange it is. It's fucking strange. It's really strange. But I had 10 lads that were just exactly like me. All had the same mindset, all wanted more for themselves, and were appreciative of, my help. At the end of the day, I'm not their mentor for the rest of their life. I'm just someone who is playing a small part in these lads' journey when it comes to whatever they want to achieve in their life. And that's what we do at Trinity. We just want to play a small part in lads' journeys when it comes to changing their life. If we can show them the opportunity and get them into the space and pivot the way for them, that's the most fulfilling thing to me. So what we did was, for 2 days, see networking events, right? A lot of them are just, can I say this on YouTube? They're just gay as fuck. They're just so gay. And honestly, so many networking events are just the gayest fucking thing. So we didn't really have a plan. What I did was I just got a massive carry out, because I feel like for me the best way for me to network with someone is I want to have a few beers with you. I'm not saying getting blackout drunk, but let's have a few beers together and let's just yarn. Let's just have a yarn. I want to know your biggest life events. I want to know how you lost your virginity. I want to know the worst mistake you ever made in your life. I want to know a dark time in your life. This is the shit I want to know about someone. This is the networking I want to do. I want to have a few beers deep and we just fucking have a yarn and we get to know each other. And that's kind of what we did, hey. We sat down and we had a big outside table. We had a few beers and just got to know the lads and connect with them on a personal level, which I thought was really, really good. And the next day, there's a massive mountain in Newcastle. You got the Mourne Mountains, but the highest point is called Slieve Donard. So we went, me and the lads, and we were dying. We were pretty hungover. I didn't let on to the boys, right? But I was dying. And we done Slieve Donard, but it was really, really good because all of the lads, even though they didn't want to admit they were hungover, we went and we done that climb, and it was a tough climb. It really was a tough climb. You know, the sun was splitting the trees at the bottom. Do you see when we got to the top? It was like you couldn't see in front of you. You were above the clouds. It wasn't snowing right enough, but it was really windy. But there was this, like, when we got to the top, there was this, like, ultimate respect with all the lads, because it was like, we realistically didn't really want to do it, but we all showed up and we all pushed each other on. Fuck, does this sound like a gay networking event? But we all pushed each other on. We all got to the top, got some photos. And then the way back down, you know, we're all just like yarning with each other. And it was roasting again. There's like this really good spot where you can jump into the water and stuff. We done that. And then when we got to the bottom, I took all the lads out. Me and Jared, you know, we took them out for beers. We took them out for food. By the way, like this whole 3 days was funded by us, like me and Jared at Trinity. All the lads, you know, they didn't have to put their hands in their pockets, because, you know, we wanted to show them that, like, we actually do care about them, and we, you know, they're not just a number to us. Like, we do genuinely care about them. So that was really, really good. You know, it was good to see the lads on a personal level, and, you know, do an activity with them that we kind of had to push ourselves. Not that we were up and down the mountain in like freaking 2 hours, like record time, but then after that there was just this like mutual respect between us all. And it was really, really good to experience that, you know. And it's mad because after that event and all the lads kind of, you know, left and parted ways, I was actually meant to stay in Ireland for, my plan was to do 2 months and then maybe like a month in Spain, you know, just spend the summer back at home, maybe in a bit of Europe. But after 3 weeks, I had to come back to Dubai. I can't describe it to you, right? Basically, I left in January 2025. I came back for a few weeks at Christmas 2025 because my sister was getting married, and I never really looked around me as to what was going on. It was the whole buzz of the wedding. I was having, you know, out with my dad and my uncle's family, my brother. There was all these family events on leading up to the wedding, so it was kind of like drinking, social events. Then I came back to Dubai. When I went back to Ireland for that event, my plan was to stay 2 months, maybe a month in Spain. What is happening to Ireland now is just, it is a toxic and scary place to be, if you ask me. I got off the plane and I said to my mate, let's go to Dublin. I want to see around Dublin. I haven't been to Dublin in years. And we were walking around Dublin, like, and I actually turned around to him and I said to him, listen lad, this is a bit overwhelming. Like, would we go? And we ended up leaving. It was just so busy, but no one was Irish. No one. I'm looking around the streets and I'm like, am I in fucking West Africa? Like, what is going on here? This is mental, and people shouting and like people being aggressive and just like drunken people and homeless, and I'm like, what the frig is going on? Like being back in that environment, because like obviously like being in Dubai, which I don't know why people shit on Dubai. I think Dubai is unbelievable. You know how clean it is and how accessible things are. Just being back in that, I was like, whoa. So then I went to Belfast, and I was staying in Belfast because I actually used to live in Belfast before I even moved to Dubai, in Titanic Quarter, and I loved it. I loved Titanic Quarter. I loved it so much. So I went back to Belfast this time, and just in my opinion, a toxic place. You know, you have such a divide between left and right, loyalist. I'm not even going to say nationalist. I'm just going to say loyalist and Catholic liberals. That's what I'm going to say, because they're not nationalists. They're Catholic atheists who despise the loyalists that much that I feel like they're not waking up to what's actually happening before them, if that makes sense. It's like you had this illegal migrant who shouldn't have been in the country try and behead a fella when I was there. This only happened a mile away from me where I was staying. And because there was protests in loyalist areas, you have all these Catholic, atheist, left-leaning that were just so upset at the fact that the loyalists were protesting. They didn't take into consideration that a poor lad who had learning difficulties almost got his head chopped off by someone who shouldn't have been in the country. And it's just this whole divide between it, and like people who I would have went to school with and people that I personally know posting stuff online about it, and I'm like, why are you even posting that? You see the whole virtue signaling that's going on? It was kind of racking my head a wee bit. I'm not even going to lie. I found myself on X and I found myself on like social media, and I'm seeing these posts and they're getting me riled up. They're getting me a bit angry. I'm like, are you like, someone would say something about like the Irish can't complain about immigration, they go everywhere. But I'm like, you know, I'm an immigrant in Dubai. To get here, I had to either start a business or get a job. Like, I pay my rent, I pay my way in society here. I don't have any handouts. I'm not trying to behead any Emirati on the street. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, are some people that brain dead to the fact? Like, I love immigration, but can we not sit here and agree that what's happening with these illegal immigrants is an absolute disgrace? Like, can we not both agree on this? Like, is it that mental? But again, this whole video, though, this isn't, I don't know, it's went a bit political here, and I didn't mean for it to go political, but that's kind of why I left Ireland, because it was affecting my work. I want to be able to be somewhere where I don't want someone to have to ask me my opinion. What do you think about this, so they can judge me on it? I don't care what your opinion is. You know, you've got people that are both Christian, that live a mile from each other, have the same backgrounds, that despise each other because they're left and they're right, and they want to divide. And I just found it, you know, it's quite toxic for me. So I came straight back to Dubai. You know, out here, everybody's just hustling. You know, you go to the gym and lads are coming in, and you can see the rollies, you know, the Rolex day dates on the wrists, which are, you know, 40k, and everyone's just hustling. It's fast paced. Everybody's working. Nobody's really worried about what's going on, because at the end of the day, right, it's very easy to get caught up in this whole political thing, when in reality you kind of forget about your own life in a way. You're so caught up in left and right, and we need to fight for this and fight for that, and we need to put a stop to this. But at the end of the day, the agenda is going to be pushed, I personally think, no matter what you do. Focus on yourself. Focus on your goals. Focus on your health. Focus on your family. Realistically speaking, if I'm a friggin' billionaire and I'm right-wing nationalist, and you're a billionaire and you're a liberal, and we've got opposite views, if I'm on my yacht and you've got your yacht parked beside me, do we really give a fuck? Are we left or right? No, we won't care. So at the end of the day, you just need to focus on yourself, on your goals. So about getting caught up in this whole government stuff, if you're not where you want to be financially, physically, mentally, you know, emotionally. So for me, that's why I came back to Dubai. I kind of found like being back home was like, I was firing my head a bit. I couldn't focus on my work because of divide with family members even having different views, and like you go to like a coffee shop or a cafe and the people beside you are talking about a different view than you have, and it's just like, oh, I'm just kind of over it. You know, I'm over it. But I had a great time back home. I spent a lot of time with my mum and dad, golf with my dad, it was great. Golf with my dad, ran, my mum's a big runner, done a lot of running with her. I, you know, obviously the meetup. But as much as I love Ireland, for me right now, it just didn't feel like home to me anymore, if that makes sense. Isn't the camera sleeping a bit? It just didn't really feel like home to me anymore, if that makes sense, you know. I feel like it'll always be the place I grew up. It will always be my home. But for now, I just felt like Dubai is my home. Now, I don't know why too many people shit in this place, to be honest. Hey, it's freaking... It's honestly such a good place, you know. I think that the people that shit on it come here on holidays and they do all the touristy stuff, all the expensive stuff, and they can't afford it, and then they complain. A lot of people as well, I think, be put off by the whole, like, if you go to the gym and everybody's wearing Rolexes and, you know, like everybody's got like the fucking handbags and stuff, which I'm not really about, but maybe some people get put off by that. I like it, you know, everybody's hustling, everybody's on the same sort of path. You go to a sauna, people are like, what do you do? Oh, you own an agency, you're in sales, boom. Connections are made, you know, I like that there sort of thing. But right now I'm back in Dubai. I'll probably stay in Dubai, you know, as a base. Like I'm 25 now, like I'm coming 26 in a couple of months, so I'll probably stay here for a good few years. It's a handy flight back to Ireland. You know, in August it's going to get pretty hot. I can just float to, if I really want to, go to Asia. I can go to Australia, Spain. You know, I can go wherever I want realistically, but it's good to be back in Dubai now. Do you know what it is as well? I love my family to bits, but one thing I find that happens to me when I'm around them is I can't actually focus on my goals and my work, and I don't know what it is. For some reason, when I'm around my family, I almost feel like that old version of me when I'm around them. I don't know how to actually explain this. I feel like the old version of me when I'm around my family. And it's not only, and it's only when I leave and come back to a different country where I am this new version of myself, where I am this version where I can focus on my work and I can do the things that I want to do. For some reason, I kind of feel like this imposter syndrome in a way when I'm around my family. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's because they know the old me, and I feel like all the stuff that I put my mum and dad through back in the day, I feel like that almost lingers over me in a way when I'm around them. And I kind of feel like I'm an imposter when I'm with them. I don't know how to describe it. So when I'm actually back in like a different country, like when I'm back in Dubai, for example, I'm like, oh, I'm myself again. I'm back to being myself. Now I can actually focus on what I want to do and the things that are going to push me towards my goals. It's fucking mad. I don't know how to explain it. But I do feel like you do need to go through a phase though of disappointing your parents. Like when I was 18, I only had my driving test for 6 months, and I crashed my car drink driving in a police chase, and I ended up with 13 driving convictions in one night. I got a 3.5 year ban, 18 months probation, 2 years suspended sentence, 120 hours community service. And it was just like, I really wish I could say that this stage of my life was what wised me up, but it didn't. Those 3 years of having no license was just a blur to me, because I was just drinking all the time. I could never sit with my own thoughts, you know. It was like a social thing. I would be on my phone, oh, XYZ's in the local bar, they're in Hagen's bar in Nunyan. I'd be straight into High Dogs, we called it. I'd be straight into High Dogs, and that would be Thursday to Sunday. Probably miss work on the Monday. Sometimes I was missing work and not going into work till Wednesday. And then there was times where I was at hungover, I'd go into work on the Monday with a 6-pack of Smirnoff Ice and I'd drink them throughout the day. That was that was a stage of my life that I definitely don't regret, because going through shit like that, I do feel like later on in life you're going to wake up and be like, you know what, I am sick of that. I never want to replay that version of myself again. And I do feel like lads almost need to go through a phase of being a degenerate, of being a fucking tube, of disappointing their parents, because they're eventually going to come to a stage where they're like, I am never living that life again. And when they do want to change, they can always look back on that version of themselves and be like, I will never be that version of myself again. It may take some lads a lot longer to cop on and realize that, but I really do believe that when someone does want to make a change in themselves, when they go through that stage of their life, when they are just a complete fuck up and they don't care about anything else but themselves and they don't care about the consequences, whenever they do want to change, they never want to go back to that version of themselves, and they always have that to look back on. You know, and they never want to be that version of themselves again. So, yeah, disappointing your parents. So many people does it. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like it's a bad thing. You will eventually waken up. You know, right now, my only goal in life is to make them proud. You know? Make them proud. Like, I want them to... Their son was the talk of the town for, you know, drinking and smashing cars and almost going to jail and being in community service and doing all this stupid shit, right? So they always had to almost mask the fact that that was always getting talked about. But now it's like, my dad, for example, he loves to talk about what I do now. He loves to talk about me and Trinity and being in Dubai and floating back and forth when I want to, you know. So it's a rewarding thing. Don't ever beat yourself up for what you've done in the past. Don't ever have any regrets either, because it's always a learning curve. You always learn from your mistakes and you can always do better. But I'm keen to jump back on, you know, once a week. Have a yarn with you guys about what's going on. That's basically the way it was for me back in Ireland, back in Belfast there. But yeah, I enjoyed this, and we'll have to punch these in once a week, you 300 legends, and we'll talk soon.